everybody? Welcome to the stream. Let's talk about the PG stats stuff, okay? So basically what happened is they did a survey, a community survey. Some questions that the community was polled on is, should wobbling be legal? Can low latency monitors be used for melee? And should there be bans for best of fives? I did not vote on these personally. The way I would vote on it is, should wobbling be legal? I vote yes. Panda Global is so sick, by the way. They do so much for the communities, and I love the faith that they've always had in the Smash scene. Now, I did see the results from this, and we'll talk about it a little later, but I think it's super. I think that one's super interesting. Probably the most interesting of these votes. Okay, so let's take a look at the results. These are the results of the surveys, okay? Should wobbling be legal? Okay, so the top 100, that's me. 64% say no, it shouldn't be legal, and 36% say yes. Huh. So, as I said, I am of the 36%, okay? And I can defend this. It's something that I'm pretty passionate about. And back when they had the vote to actually end wobbling, I also voted no ban, right? I wanted it to be legal. Even here in SoCal, we voted on it on a regional level, and I voted no. No to the ban. Okay, I'm not a flip-flopper. I believe that wobbling should be legal because I think the state of the game cannot afford to invalidate another character. Melee is a game that has not been touched by Nintendo since its inception, or since PAL, which is a good thing, but also kind of a bad thing. When patches are an option, people don't take their creativity to the limits. You know what I'm saying? They immediately just want the patch. They want the easy fix. But then, like, no amount of creativity could save Brawl from Meta Knight, right? That motherfucking character was just destruction. It needed to go, and there were no patches. So that, in my mind, really ruined the game. That's one of the things that ruined the game. There's like a whole thing to talk about in regards to like patching and etc. and what it does for the scene. So our game does not have patches. Our game both, benefits from a lack of patches, but it also suffers because there are a lot of characters in this 26 character game that simply cannot hang. There are a lot of characters that are just straight up not viable. I think this game only has about 11 to 12 viable characters, and what I define as viable is an ability to win a tournament. That's it. That's viable to me. If the game has about 11 to 12 characters, I think that is a result of there being no patches, and you can't fix these dog shit characters, right? Like, Ness is never going to be good in this game. I don't care what you're discovering. If we're in this situation where the lack of patches means that we're going to have a lot of unviable characters and very few viable characters, then what are we doing creating a rule set that eliminates the viability of yet another character? Like, my God, if we have 12 viable characters max, why are we trying to make it 11? I think that's a terrible idea for the health of this game. That's me. I think that is more detrimental to the game than an annoying infinite. But that's just me. Like, there haven't been any strong ice climbers since they did the ban. And then we just all, as a community, are just kind of like, hey, and then we're like more Fox and Falco, and that's all. And the community's happy, apparently. But to me, I think it's unhealthy for the game. I'm not going to lie to you. I am tired of seeing Spaceys. The only newness I'm getting is I'm seeing more high-level Falcons, but that's it. I'm seeing more and more Spaceys. Honestly, I don't mind watching wobbling. Like, the threat of wobbling being there and seeing players deal with it, players that I would consider better than the wobbling opponent, I think is so interesting. You cannot tell me that your asshole is not clenched when you're watching a very, very high-level player on last stock dealing with ice climbers. Like, you're just like, like, I need Mango to win this. I know he can, but he could also lose. I need Leffen to win this, but he could definitely lose. And that shit is just so hype. To me, that's hype. Like, people forget, like, they're invested in a match and they're having a sick time. But then the ice climber wins and they're like, oh, I hate these rules. I hate wobbling. The only time it's terrible is when the opponent just gives up and just gets wobbled for free. And just gets four-stocked, and then they get off the setup, and they're all upset, and then you're like, man, fuck this. But that's on the player, man. They gave up. Let's continue talking about all this. Can low-latency monitors be used at offline tournaments? The majority said yes, for both the community and the top 100. That's interesting. I did expect more of the I don't know from the community, because top players should know at this point. They've played on both, most likely. But I'm definitely in the yes camp. I think that CRTs have run their course. TOs themselves are also agreeing. I think Juggle Guy of Big House fame was straight up saying, like, God damn it, finally. I think even my roommate Bobek, who runs Genesis, was also like, yes, please, we need to move on from this. I like the fact that the community agrees that we need to move on. It's a burden on TOs. It's a burden on just any kind of organization that wants to work with us. They're like, fuck, man, we got to get the TVs. You know, and we did what we had to do. But yeah, I'm down to change that. I think it'll be good for the tournament scene, especially when we come back to live events, for people not to have to worry about fucking CRTs. Let's put it out there. The amount of floor space that the big-ass TVs take, that, I mean... How about we change to monitors, but grand finals? The top 8 stage, the stage setups are still on CRTs. I think that'd be dope. We still keep the tradition of Trinitron TVs on the stage, and then the rest could be monitors. I think that's dope. Let's read this, actually. After a year of playing on monitors in quarantine, it appears the community is ready to consider a change to CRT standard. We're still some time from the first massive majors in the West, at least, but it's possible the next Genesis or Big House could be played on monitors. It seems more likely than it did a year ago. Okay, cool. The last one. The last big question asked of the community. Should there be bans in best of 5 sets? Oh, baby. I felt like this one would be the most contentious, and it looks like there is. Or it looks like it is. It's close. The top 100, 48% says yes, and 40% say no. Community, 43% say yes, 40% say no. Interesting. Now, on this, I saw someone responded with a pie chart that shows the breakdown of character mains in the top 100, and it looked like precisely 48% are Spacey mains, who would definitely benefit from a specific ban in best of 5s, which would be, you guessed it, FD. Now, the thing is, as a Samus main, I would love it if I could do bans, because then Spaceys can't take me to FD. I think FD is very favored for Spaceys. I would love a ban. But clearly, it's really funny. Yeah, like almost exactly 48% are fast followers that will get chain grabbed by Marth. So where do I side on this? I side on the yes side. Even though I am a floaty, and I would love to be able to keep Dreamland as one of my options, I personally think that a ban is healthy for the game, because I don't think our neutrals are so fair that, you know, that all stages should remain on the table during a best of 5. I think that some stages are straight up auto wins for some characters, and they shouldn't be allowed. I'd love it if we could be specific about which characters get bans and which ones don't, but that's not how the world works. It's going to have to be everyone gets a ban or no one gets a ban. Some characters that have auto wins. I think Marth has an auto win on Fox and Falco on FD. And what I mean by auto win is not necessarily that it's 100%. It's more like you have like an 80 to 20 or 90 to 10 matchup on that stage. It's pretty fucked up. Dude, I think Phil was doing commentary one day where the set started and it was Fox versus Marth. And then as soon as the set started, he's like, all right, we got the Marth 1-0 on the Spacey, right? He'd be like, all right, cool. The set has just started. We got Zane 1-0 on SFAT. And he was making the joke that it doesn't matter what happens, Zane's already got FD in the bag. It's already over. It's already won. So, like, it doesn't matter what you do. You're constantly playing at a one-match deficit against Marth. And I think that is bullshit. If you're allowed to ban stages, you will probably never again see the Marth versus Fox interaction on FD. Is it healthy for us to limit stages even further? That's a fair point. In my mind, like, when I say I'm yes on this, I'm not strongly yes on this. I wouldn't mind experimenting with it. I wouldn't mind trying it out. What I'm surprised didn't get asked in this community survey is whether or not we should lower the time limit. That was a hot ticket question just like a couple years ago or just a year ago when we had live tournaments. The idea of making matches go to 7 minutes, and that was mostly when Hungrybox was doing his thing, and like there'd be some long ass matches. Like some people were saying like it should be 6 minutes, which I think is horseshit. That was more Spacey main propaganda. By lowering the time limit, a lot of characters play a grindy game. That's just how it works, right? Marth versus Samus is an 8-minute matchup. That shit takes a while because you're constantly vying for position. We'd be on a rotation and the Spacey would get pissed. I think specifically Cody. He'd be on a rotation, Cody would lose or something, and then it'd be me versus Zane. He's like, God damn it, this is gonna take 8 minutes. I'm like, yup. But we don't camp. It's just a grind, and it just takes a while. And it'd be some bullshit if I, as a Samus main, was forced to play hyper-aggressive, like just not even care about my position because the timer's at 6 minutes or 5 minutes. That's some bullshit. Like, it hurts characters that need to play positionally. In my opinion, a shorter clock encourages camping. It doesn't solve the camping problem because the campers, once they get a lead and now they only need to sustain that lead for less time, what makes a person run the clock? When they're closer to the clock. And if you're just changing the rules where you're always closer to the clock, then you're going to have more incentive to camp if you have the lead. That's not a fix, in my opinion. It's not a fix at all. Zane said he missed playing you in some recent video. Oh, dude, if somebody could find that video, that'd be so cool. Zane was one of my favorite people to play. He also felt the same way. I'd like to think so. Ah, bless his heart. You know how many people have told me that they love playing my Samus? Very few. But if Zane said it, that's sick. That makes up for it. Cause dude, you could like sense how smart he is and how he's approaching the game. Like, dude, it was just so cool. It was like we were playing a very unique style of the game, and we were both appreciating the kind of like thought we were putting into our decisions, right? Like you could just feel every decision going through every time we played. That's why I really like playing Zane. It's like he would do some sick shit. I'd be like, damn, that was dope. I understand exactly why you chose to do that. That's so sick.
I actually really love playing Hugs.
Let's go, baby. Yeah.
I miss playing Mart Samus.
Me too. Me too, buddy.
I think it'd be healthy for...
Look at this bromance, baby. We both think the same thing about each other's characters and each other's play. That's so sick. Yeah, he was one of my favorite people to play and play friendlies with. So yeah, as far as this rule goes, that's where I stand. I'm just somewhere in the middle, but I think I'm down to experiment with the idea just to check it out. See how it is. Well, you guys made me chug hella water, so I need to go to the bathroom again. The feeling of getting got. Right, exactly. And then the feeling of getting got, but still knowing that I'm gonna get mine. I know I'm gonna get got, but I'm gonna get mine more than I get got, though. Classic quote. Okay. Peace, everyone. Good night. See ya. Man, Samus mains have it all, man. They got the brains, they got the brawn. We got it all. Yes, sir. Can we get some beers in the chat?